San Francisco, 3Com Park is the setting, and the weather changes by the minute. They're talking now about 60-mile-an-hour winds, rain coming sideways for this wild card match between the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. Weather, indeed, is going to be a factor. Pat Summerall here with John Madden. And John, all week long we've been hearing about Ricky Waters, about the return of Ray Rhodes. The Philadelphia Eagles in this sudden death event now, the playoffs, the loser is out. How do the Eagles approach this game under these conditions?
Well, I think Ricky Waters is going to be a big part of it, but I don't know if it's just going to be running the ball. One of the things that the Eagles want to do is spread out the 49er defense, not let them get packed in there. Then they want to be able to run inside, you know, where they don't have a lot of guys in there, take Tim McDonald out. But I think the other thing that they have to be able to do when they do spread them out, in other words, put a back out there and a tight end out there with the two wide receivers, they have to be able to throw the ball. You aren't going to beat the 49ers by just running the ball. You can't do that. You have to be able to throw it, so Ty Detmer is going to have to do that. On defense, it's an interesting thing. They're going to start and play a nickel defense. They're going to play with 2 linebackers, 5 defensive backs, and they're going to have Mike Zordich, who's normally the strong safety, play a linebacker. Now, when the 49ers see that, and they face that a lot, what they try and do against that is run the ball at it and get them out of that defense.
You know, John, the 49ers in recent weeks, a couple of years ago, they looked like they were a fast break team. They had everybody back on their heels. They look like they're approaching that level again now.
Yeah, they are, and I think Terrell Owens, the rookie wide receiver on the other side of Jerry Rice, I think that has helped. Of course, Jerry Rice, one of the greatest that ever played this game, and then getting Brent Jones, their tight end, healthy again, I think that helped. The big thing to me is Steve Young. I mean, Steve Young is that dimension. Like I've always said, Steve Young is not only the best quarterback on this team, but he's the best running back on this team. And I think that we know about the rain, we know about the wind, and the 49ers are going to be able to do a lot of things if they can get pass protection.
You know, in a situation like this, sometimes you have to forget about the playing conditions and think about playing. And therein lies the secret.
An age of television, but today we can actually use our TVs to surf the internet. So we can go places we always dreamed of going. Find out about almost anything. Hear things we've never heard before. Amazing.
Web TV from Philips Magnavox. The power of the internet now on your own television.
It is not that cold, 59 degrees, but the wind gust up to 60 miles an hour. The forecast, heavy wind and rain, and it has been coming down since early this morning. Derek Witherspoon back deep. Jeff Wilkins will kick it off. Mark Say is back with Witherspoon. Short kick. There'll be a lot of kickoff returns today if they can handle them. At the 3. Witherspoon breaks out of the pack. Close to the 30, and there he's down. Let's have a look at the Eagle offense led by Ty Detmer. His record 7-4 as a starter. In front of him, Barrett Brooks, McIntyre, the ex-49er, McKenzie, Panos, and Richard Cooper. Waters, the ex-49er, Turner, Fryer, Christy Jones, and Jason Dunn, the rookie tight end. 1st and 10, Philadelphia at their own 29. Ty Detmer. Fryer was the man in motion, and that's Waters. At the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard. Let's look at that 49er defense. They are among the best. The 2 tackles, Stubblefield and Bryant Young, the anchors. Barker and Dolman both have had good years as the defensive ends. 3 fine linebackers, Plummer, Norton, and Woodall. And the secondary, Pope, Hanks, McDonald, and Tyrone Drakeford. 3 wide receivers, 2nd and 9. Rain has just about stopped at the moment. That's Ricky Waters. 1st down, Philadelphia.
You know, and that's just what we were talking about, Pat, how they were going to try and spread them out. You see, in other words, just get in here. Now they have their wide receivers outside, so that spreads out the defense. And you see 1, 2, 3, 4, only 5 guys in the box. That means for the Eagles, that's a running situation. That's what Ty Detmer says. If he can get 5 men in the box, then they want to run the ball. Spread them out, get only 5 in there and run right at them.
Wide line splits by the front 5. About a yard apart. Detmer. To Waters. By Norton.
You see that audible? Ty Detmer was telling us last night that he's going to be doing some audibling. And again, it's checking that how many guys they have in that front box. And then it's going to either be run or pass. If they have 6 or 7 guys in the box, then you want to be able to pass against it. If they only have 5, you want to be able to run against it. That time he audibleized by patting his left hip. And that was the side they were going to run the draw to.
2nd and 10. Norton saw it also. Detmer back to throw it. Gets it outside to Jimmy Johnson. The 3rd of the Eagle tight ends, but a good receiver.
See, they had all the guys in the box that time, so that is a passing situation. Jimmy Johnson, a tight end, was spread out. Watch Ty Detmer here on that play before. You see, he pats that side, then that side. That's the audible. It's going to be a draw, and he runs it to the left side.
The 2nd pat, I guess, of the hip.
I think he goes up there, and in the huddle he calls check with me.
Yep.
Then he reads the defense and decides which side to run it to.
Here's Detmer back to throw it again. Gets it in the middle. 3rd and Fryer. That's the pattern they've had great success with all year long. They run that bunch on the side, and Fryer just finds the open spot.
And that's the thing that we were talking about with the Eagles. If they're going to win this game, you're not going to make a living running against this 49er defense. You have to be able to pass the ball. And if this 49er defense has a weakness, it's their pass defense, not their run defense. And I know what Barry Sanders did to him last Monday night, and I know what Eric Pegram did the week before, but both those teams ran successfully, and they lost against the 49ers.
Again, the Eagles will spread them out. Detmer back to throw it. Screen pass to Ricky Waters. Waters picks up about 5.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Ricky Waters yesterday when we talked to him. I think, everyone expected him to come in here and be all fired up, and he talked to everyone, and Ray Rhodes said that he had a talk with him earlier in the week just to keep his mouth shut. And Ricky Waters is an emotional guy.
He was fired up, but he was controlled fire.
Yeah, he was controlled. I mean, it wasn't those, emotional, out of control, I'm going to do this and that.
Garner has replaced Waters. And he gets to carry. Charlie Garner, right side down to about the 49er 25. John, this is only the 4th game this year that the Eagles have played on natural grass.
I know, and you talk about natural grass and Charlie Garner. Remember, the first game that he ever played was here for the Eagles against the 49ers. The 49ers didn't even know anything about him. And in that game, look, when he rushed for 111 yards. That was there when I started, then it went away.
That was the highlight, Richie Kotite's year as the Philadelphia coach, maybe his tenure.
Ray Rhodes was the defensive coordinator of the 49ers.
That's Jimmy Johnson again, and he gets apparently enough for a first down from Detmer.
You have to be impressed with Ty Detmer and how calm he is in this thing, because this is a tough atmosphere to play in. I mean, you come in here and you got a wet field, and you got wind, and you got rain, and you got all these elements, and he's just calmly taking this Eagle team right down the field and passing it and running it. See again how they're spread out here. They got here, here, and here. 3 wide receivers to spread that defense out.
1st and 10. Detmer gives to Waters. Waters surges down to about the 15, stopped by Lee Woodall.
That's one of the things that they don't want to do, is they don't want that defense to get packed in there, because when you take Bryant Young, one of the best defensive players in all of football, let alone defensive lineman, and you put Dana Stubblefield next to him, those 2 tackles, along with the linebackers behind them, Gary Plummer and Ken Norton Jr., that's tough to run against.
3 wide receivers for the Eagles. Detmer back to throw. The 49ers blitz. He gets rid of it. Intended for Kevin Turner, who couldn't find a handle. Tim McDonald on the coverage.
Yeah, and Lee Woodall got there. It was Ken Norton and Lee Woodall, but Woodall made him throw the ball just a little before he wanted to. And I think defensive coordinator Pete Carroll thought, you know, I've had enough of this. I got to change something up. I got to bring the linebacker right here. I got to get some pressure on him, bringing two linebackers from the same side and the side that Detmer was going to throw to.
3rd and 6. Pryor is wide left. Christy Jones to the other side. Here's Detmer. Another blitz, and the 49ers get there. This time it's Woodall.
Yeah, again, by Pete Carroll, you know, that's the defensive coordinator. I think that he figures, I'm going to sit there long enough. I'm going to sit there long enough. Now I got to get an overload. There's Lee Woodall coming from the outside. Ricky Waters supposed to block him. That was a poor blocking effort by Ricky Waters.
Passive at best.
Yeah, I mean, that's terrible. That stinks. I mean, if you're going to, you got to be able to run the ball, and you got to be able to catch the ball as a running back. But the other thing you have to do as a running back, you have to be able to pass protect.
Gary Anderson to try the field goal, and this could be tricky from 40 yards. The wind will have a definite effect. It was in practice, blowing it right to left. Blew it right to left.
That's the one he practiced. He did the same thing in practice, and the wind did the same thing to the same ball from the same position.
And the Eagles get nothing. The 49ers take over. This was in the pregame warm-ups. Same kind of kick for Gary Anderson.
And the same thing happened to him. He was kicking from the left hash mark that time, but that wind took it to the left, practiced it, and then he did it in the game.
Eagles go in the 3-man front. Terry Kirby made the reception. It's incomplete. They say it hit hard.
William Thomas, he laid the leather to him on that one.
Steve Young, of course, the 49er quarterback, says he is 100% healthy now. In front of him, Wallace, Brown, Sapolo, Dahlman, and Harris Barton. Terry Kirby is the halfback, Floyd the fullback, Owens and Rice wide, and Brent Jones the tight end. William Thomas, who made the hit, stayed down. And the Eagle medical staff out looking him over. Nothing, first quarter. William Thomas over on the bench, got up, walked over there. Here's the hit.
Well, I mean, he really unloaded on Terry Kirby, and then he tried to come down with a left chop. And I think he hurt himself when he brought that left elbow down and hit the ground.
2nd and 10. Young back to throw. Look one way, and here's what you talked about before the game. Steve Young's running, and the threat. Woodard brought him down. Let's look at the Eagle defense. Again, John talked about before. It's a little bit different. That's the front four: Mamula, Hall, Thomas, and Fuller. 2 linebackers, Willis and Thomas, when he comes back, if he comes back. Taylor, Dawkins, Zordich, Griffin, and Vincent. 5 defensive backs, with Zordich playing up.
Yeah, Zordich is really playing like a weak side linebacker.
Pitches back to Kirby, and nothing doing.
And they ran that right at Zordich. That's what the 49ers do, because a lot of teams will play nickel on him. You know, play nickel on every down, and that's what they're doing. And then they try and run them out of it. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to pick Zordich, and Zordich is out here on the right-hand side. Here's Zordich right here. So he's the extra defensive back who, in essence, is a linebacker. That's the guy that they choose to run at. That time, Mike Zordich won that battle.
Thompson back to kick for the 49ers against the wind. Mark Say is deep. He'll have a chance to this one if he can handle it. Got away from one, but the 49ers do a good job in coverage. Flag on the play. Plummer was down to make the stop. That was a 46-yard punt against the wind, so that's a pretty good effort.
And the flag was back on the original line of scrimmage. Usually when it's in that area, it will be against the punting team. I would say that the Eagles would make them punt it again.
You would think so. Right now, it looks as if the rain has just about stopped, but it's still very windy.
I would take that 10 yards.
On the kicking team, number 55, prior to the kick. 10-yard penalty, repeat 4th down.
Well, they got to take this penalty.
Yeah, you do, because one, you put them back 10 yards, make them punt it again into the wind, and you don't, you like to have their punter punting into the wind, but, being a punt returner is a little shaky on this deal, too. I mean, that's the thing you worry about. At least you had the ball. Now you're giving them the ball back, and you have to be able to catch that punt.
Oftentimes, when a punter punts against the wind like this, especially after a punt penalty, he overkicks.
Yeah, he swings too hard.
Yeah.
It's like golf. When you're trying to hit the ball into the wind, you swing too hard.
Not this time. This is a good kick. That's a heck of a kick. Handled cleanly by Say. Up to the 38, so the Eagles take over in pretty good shape. 54-yard punt, 14-yard return. Zordich in a comfortable pose. The AFC playoff picture is clear. Jacksonville plays at Denver, 4 o'clock on Saturday. Pittsburgh at New England. And in the NFC, Dallas goes to Carolina late on Sunday. And the winner of this game goes to Green Bay early on Saturday. Things are starting to clear. Not the weather, the playoff picture. First down, and this is Ricky Waters. Woodall made the stop. And right now, for a McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown at our Fox Television Center.
Pat, it was a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game in name only. Pittsburgh ran roughshod over Indianapolis, and as you indicated, New England will now host its first playoff game, that against Pittsburgh, first since '78. Back to Patton in charge.
2nd and 4 at 3Com Park. The Eagles have the ball. Their own 43. That's Ricky Waters. And he doesn't get anything. A little conversation, maybe.
Well, he's going to have a lot of conversation, because I think that Ken Norton Jr. and Gary Plummer are two big conversationalists on defense, and Ricky Waters is a big conversationalist on offense. So when the three of them get together, which is going to be just about any time Ricky Waters runs with the ball, there's going to be a conversation to follow.
They will critique each other's effort. 3 wide receivers, 3rd down. Here's Detmer back to throw it. Ball is deflected at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that's the thing with Ty Detmer. They always talk about his height. He's only 6 foot, but any quarterback has to find a lane. And Ty Detmer was trying to find a lane, and watch him here. He's looking to the left. He wants to throw the ball to the left. And watch Dana Stubblefield. He just gets his hands up there, as does Tim McDonald. Stubblefield gets his hand up there, and then McDonald is right inside him. And I think it hit Stubblefield's right hand and McDonald's left hand.
Still double dips. Hutton's punt bounces way in front of the 49er deep man, and the ball rolls dead at the 19, where San Francisco will take over. We have 5 minutes and 4 seconds left to play in the first quarter. No score as yet. That doesn't really look like the Golden Gate today, does it? Rain, you can see, still pelts down. Somebody in the scoreboard.
See, the Eagles are using that 3-man line, 3 linebackers, 5 defensive backs.
Kirby gets the delay. Gains about 4 or 5. Clock running with 4:50 left to play in the first quarter.
See, here's a 3-man line. 1 to 2. Those are the 3 linemen. Then you go, here's 1, 2. These are the 3 linebackers. And this is the first of the 5 defensive backs. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 defensive backs. That's the nickel defense. And whenever the 49ers see that, a lot of people do this to them. A lot of people have been successful doing it. They try and run the ball at him to get him out of this defense.
They got 5 yards on that first carry. They'll run it again with Kirby. And he gets a couple this time.
See, now, if I were playing the 49ers, I would rather see him run all day. The 49ers, I don't care if they have a running game where they say Kirby's better, they got a little better running game, whatever. They aren't going to beat you running the ball. I mean, the way they're going to beat you is Steve Young's going to beat you throwing the ball to Jerry Rice.
Of the 6 teams that came out of the NFC that came into the playoffs, who had the most efficient running attack? The 49ers.
Yeah.
But they're not going to beat you that way.
No, they aren't. And a big part of their running attack, like I said before, is Steve Young. That part of the running attack will beat you.
Young back to throw. Dumps it to Jerry Rice. And Rice is shy of the first down. James Willis.
That was the thing that Ray Rhodes was talking about last night. He says Jerry Rice is going to catch his ball. And that's what he said. He's going to catch his passes. But the thing we have to do is when he catches it, we have to come in and really let him have it. And that's what James Willis did there first. Mike Zordich did secondly. They know that he's going to run this crossing stuff. He's going to run this short stuff in here. But when he does, boom, you got to tackle him right there and not let him have a lot of run after the catch yardage.
More and more, that's the word around the league. Let him catch him. He's going to catch him. But tackle him after he catches. Thompson's kick sails high and short this time. They did well to field it. The Eagles take over at their own 35. 38-yard punt. By the way, that catch by Rice was his 20th straight playoff game with a catch.
Yeah, but it didn't do any good.
No.
I mean, that's one of the things. If you say, is there anything wrong with this West Coast offense or, you know, whatever they call this offense, it's to me that they have to throw the ball too short, and too often on third down they complete passes and then have to punt. And I think that's one of the ugliest sights in all of football is a completed third down pass followed by a punt.
1st and 10, Philadelphia. Garner is the deep back. And the handoff is faked by Detmer to Charlie Garner, who rolls and gets it to Johnson, and Johnson gets an Eagle first down.
That was a heck of a fake by Ty Detmer. That was the old bootleg where he faked to the left and bootlegged out to the right. That's a 49er play. Of course, a lot of this Eagle offense is the same as the 49ers. John Gruden, the offensive coordinator of the Eagles, was at one time with the 49ers, and he was also at one time with the Green Bay Packers. But Ty Detmer really helped himself on that by having a great fake before he went into his bootleg.
1st and 10, 4 wide receivers this time for the Eagles as they continue to try to spread them out. The handoff is to Garner. He gets to the line of scrimmage, maybe, and that's about it.
Yeah, I think the 49ers are figuring that out now, Pat, that the Eagles are doing a lot of that 4 wide receivers, as you say, to spread them out, and then they're running the ball. So what the 49ers are starting to do is they're starting to line those linebackers outside the box, and then on the snap of the ball, bringing them Ken Norton and Lee Woodall, bringing them into the box. Because the Eagles have gone to that well a few too many times. You know, first down, 4 wide receivers, and then run the draw.
Less than 2 minutes left in the first quarter. No score.
There's the box right there, and you see 5 guys in there now.
Detmer has it deflected again. Sort of a sidearm delivery, and he's just not, as John Madden was talking about earlier, not tall enough to throw it sidearm.
No, and he really has to find his passing lanes. And this one here, I just think he throws it too low. Watch it. He's looking for a passing lane. I mean, that ball hits Bryant Young right in the face.
Yep.
And so that, I mean, you got to find a lane between those guys, but you have to get the ball up a little too. Like he said one time, that's what his dad told him, is to get that elbow up, or he wouldn't let him play catch as a kid. He didn't get the elbow up that time.
3rd and 10. Detmer's back to throw it. Again, the rush. With people hanging on, Detmer got rid of it. Mark Say was the intended target, but they had him by the shirt.
Yeah, watch Bryant Young here. Again, we talked about him, one of the best defensive players in all of football. Just get the pressure straight up the middle. He was the guy who made that move, and then boom, he's coming right at Ty Detmer, and then Chris Dolman was able to get in there from the backside too. But the guy that made that pass rush was Bryant Young.
Hutton to punt it. Kirby is deep. No flag. Kirby says get away from it. It was a short kick. It goes out of bounds at about the 25. The 49ers will take over. Don't forget, we're winding down. Some of the teams have already wound down. They're looking for coaches. But the playoffs continue. Next week we'll be in Carolina as Dallas goes to Carolina. That has to be some atmosphere in Carolina.
Yeah, I can't wait to get down there to see that one. I mean, we haven't been there all year, and to get there for a playoff game, that's a good time to be your first time.
And it looks like the Cowboys are back.
You got to throw it.
To Terrell Owens. Brian Dawkins made the stop on Owens. Owens really starting to come into his own.
Well, you know, he's so big and so strong and so tough to tackle, but Dawkins zeroes in on him and gets a pretty good shot on him and gets him going backwards. That's the thing with Terrell Owens. He's not only a big target for Steve Young, but after he catches the ball, he's awfully strong and tough to tackle. But Brian Dawkins gets him and makes a picture-perfect tackle. I mean, he got him right where there was nothing that Owens could do about it.
That technique was like you draw it up, like you teach it.
That used to be the old tackling drill. You used to drill doing that.
Two tight ends. Young back to throw again. William Floyd makes the catch, gets close to a first down. He may have it. James Willis made the stop.
The fans are going crazy. They got a first down. One thing I've always felt, Pat, that you could really tell the difference as you get into the playoffs, that you have a preseason level of tackling, a regular season level of tackling, and a postseason level of tackling. And what we're seeing now is a postseason level of tackling.
You know, I think it goes along with all phases of the game. I think the officiating improves as the playoffs arrive.
Yeah, well, you know, I've always thought that the officials let the players play. I mean, they don't want to be part of this game, and the finality of it. I mean, one of these teams is going to be playing next week. One of these teams at the end of the day is going to be finished for the year. And, you know, it has been. I mean, there have been teams that have gone from the wild card and all the way to the Super Bowl.
Not many.
Not many. The Oakland Raiders once went from are the only team that ever went from the wild card game and won a Super Bowl.
They beat the Eagles.
But it is possible. I mean, it can be done. It's a tough way to go, the way these teams are going.
It is tough. First down, San Francisco. And here's Steve Young. Escapes. Gets it to Kirby. Kirby's got some room. Kirby squirts across midfield and gets another 49er first down. That should be the end of the quarter. 16-yard pickup on the pass from Young to Kirby. At the end of one, there is no score. You could have a non-fat decaf latte in the morning, but if you prefer a jolt of Joe, Fox has the show for you. Fox After Breakfast, where you'll never know who'll show up. The one thing you can expect is the unexpected. Fox After Breakfast, every weekday morning.
You could have a cup of what?
I got it out one time. Decaf latte.
But if you were going to drink latte, why would you drink decaf?
I'd rather have a jolt of Joe.
Little jolt of Joe.
Yeah. Young to Brent Jones. Close to another 49er first down. William Thomas made the hit.
And this is what the 49ers do so well. You know, that bootleg pass where they fake one way and then they're going to come out where you fake one way. Here's your tight end here. You fake the ball this way, and then the quarterback bootlegs out here. He just runs it out, and you just hit him. If they drop off, you run the ball. If not, you see the position Steve Young is in right now. If they don't drop off, he just hits Brent Jones. If they drop off, he could just keep on running down there.
And nobody does it better.
No, that's the best thing the 49ers do.
Young is going to throw on second and short. Incomplete. Owens, the intended receiver. And the defender, Troy Vincent, arrived just about the same time as the ball.
Now, this is going to be a physical matchup. Watch Troy Vincent on him right here. Now, he's going to try and jam him right there at the line of scrimmage. Terrell Owens is going to try and jam Vincent. They both jam each other. Now Terrell Owens should have just run right through that ball. He didn't have to jump. He didn't have to leave his feet. If he would have just kept running, he could have caught that pass. Although it was tough the way Troy Vincent was draped on him there at the end.
That was a good play by Vincent.
Vincent is a physical physical corner.
Kirby will get the 49er first down at the Eagle 35.
What they're trying to do for the most part is put Bobby Taylor on Jerry Rice and put Troy Vincent on Terrell Owens, but that's not the way it's going to happen all the time. On that last play, Vincent was on Jerry Rice.
Whoever covers Rice is going to get some help.
But you know, the 49ers don't go deep to Rice the way they used to. You know, run them on ups or deep outs and stuff. It seems like most of the stuff he's catching now is that short crossing stuff. They don't really work him on the outside anymore. There he goes in motion there.
Here's Steve Young. All kinds of time. Young back across the field, complete to Adrian Cooper, the backup tight end. Brian Dawkins made the stop.
Yeah, that's where Steve Young's running helps you, Pat. It's not only that he can take the ball and run with the ball, but he can take the ball and run with it and buy time. I mean, watch him here. It's a fake. It's a bootleg. He had Jerry Rice open, but then he waited and waited, ran a little more, bought a little more time, and he finds Adrian Cooper in the middle there. You know how long he had to throw that?
6 seconds?
He had 6 seconds, but you know, probably the pass protection was like 2.5, and the rest was just Steve Young.
Kirby gets a couple. That's another play the 49ers have run forever. That quick trap to the halfback.
And again, with this offense, with this 49er offense, the quarterback has to be able to run the ball. And I think that with this offense, that Steve Young is a perfect quarterback for it.
He has been.
Yeah, you know, and Brett Favre, you know, in Green Bay can run and, you know, and move around and buy time. I'm not always talking about running like a running back. They can do that too, but just like that, you know, 2 plays ago, that kind of running.
By 6 seconds, 2nd and 8. 3-man front for the Eagles. And again, Young has good pass protection, gets the screen pass out to Floyd. Floyd is cut down as he crossed the 10-yard line by Mark Woodard. That is a play that looked like it had the possibility of touchdown written on it.
Yeah, Jesse Sapolo's the center. Watch Jesse Sapolo, the center there in that screen pass. He's going to come right down the line, and he's going to make a block here, and they just get off it. See, if he gets that guy right there, then they had a chance to get away with it.
3rd and about a yard, just inside the 10-yard line of the Eagles. 3 wide receivers. Young going to run it himself. Will get the first down. Still on his feet. Steve Young scores. That's a 9-yard run, but that is a dandy, and he might be hurt.
Yeah, because there wasn't a big hole there for Steve Young, and it looks like he hurt his left shoulder. Because the one thing you can run, but you can't hit with the left shoulder. Now watch, here's Steve Young. He's going to come back, and he's going to run the draw there, but he didn't give it time to develop. And when he didn't do that, he had a run-through thing, and he got a hit right there at the end. That last hit looked like it was right on his left shoulder.
That looked like a real stinger, that last one. He gets hit from the right side and from his left side.
Well, see, now he looks like a running back here. I mean, he's straight arm and he's doing everything because he knows one thing. It's a playoff game, and he's going to get it to the end zone.
This Fox NFC Wildcard Special is brought to you by Genuine Chevrolet, the cars more Americans trust. By Gillette Sensor Excel and the Gillette Series. Gillette, the best a man can get. By IBM, season's greetings to a small planet from everyone at IBM. And by Brewery Fresh Bud Light, who reminds you fresh beer tastes better.
49ers lead 7-0. Wilkins kickoff sails in the direction of Witherspoon, but is picked up by Mark Say. And Say comes outside to the 40. Stopped by Junior Bryant. Again, Steve Young just scored the touchdown.
Yeah, I don't know if he got hurt when he got hit, he got hurt when he went down, or he got hurt when these guys start to pick him up. But he has one of his teammates. He's jerking that left shoulder. Darn near jerked his shoulder right out of joint. Steve Young on that drive, though, he was 6 out of 7 passing and carried the ball 2 times for 17 yards and a touchdown. So that was kind of a Steve Young drive, wasn't it?
And he looks okay.
Oh, yeah, he's okay. He's tough. He just got beat around down there, but I think the end thing, I think the thing that hurt his left shoulder was his own guy jerking on him.
That's Ricky Waters, stopped at the line of scrimmage by Ken Norton Jr. Right now for a Fox game break. Let's send you back to our Fox Television Center, James Brown.
All right, Pat, we'll take a look at the always dangerous Cordero Stewart today. 9 carries, 48 yards, 2 touchdowns. This is the final one of the day as they up in Indianapolis 42-14. They meet New England next week. Back to Pat and John.
And here at 3Com, the 49ers lead the Eagles 7-0. The Eagles have the ball, and Ty Detmer goes back to throw it. Detmer crosses body to his tight end, Jason Dunn, who they believe is a wonderful prospect.
And he can help a quarterback, too. And now watch here. This time, when Ty Detmer goes back, if we can just stop it right here, we can see that he finds the lane because he gets the tackles out here and here. Now he can move up in here, and he can find Jason Dunn as tight end. You see, when they didn't give him that lane before, he was having trouble. That time, the tackles by Bryant Young going to the outside, that gave Ty Detmer a lane.
Fryer's the man in motion. Pitches back to Kevin Turner. And Turner gets into 49er territory to their 40. Merton Hanks made the stop.
You know, I was talking to Bill Walsh before the game, Pat, and he was saying that what he was talking to the players about is keeping their hands and arms dry. You know, that where you get the wet balls in the wet field and you worry about, you know, your quarterback getting his left arm or his left hand. He said that's where fumbles come. It looks like Steve Young was warming up there to try and get that left shoulder back, but he also did. You notice how dry his left arm was.
On second down, Detmer gets it to the fullback Turner again. And gets a Eagle first down at the 49er 30.
Now, this is the first thing that you have to do. If you're going to get the ball out, you have to pick up the blitz because the 49ers are starting. Here comes Tim McDonald here, and you just see Joe Panos, the right guard. He came out right at the end and just got enough of Tim McDonald to bump him off so that he couldn't be a factor.
First and 10 Eagles at the 49er 30. Detmer back to Waters. Cut down after a couple by Gary Plummer.
You know, Ray Rhodes was telling us last night that he comes out every game and he always wants to do 2 things, but they never seem to do it, is get Kevin Turner more involved in the offense, and he just ran the ball 2 out of 3 times, or touched the ball 2 out of the last 3. And the other thing is get the ball to his tight end, Jason Dunmore. You say, we say that every week going in, and then we don't do it, then we come out and we say it again the next week. Well, on this drive, he's doing it.
Second and 8. The word on Steve Young, by the way, is that his ribs or bruised. He took a shot in the ribs, and that was the source of his discomfort. Detmer gets it to Ricky Waters. Waters gets an Eagle first down at about the 16. Stopped by Barker.
Sometimes just by going to someone like a Kevin Turner and then a Jason Dunn and back to a Kevin Turner, that will open up things for the guy you really want to get it to, who's Ricky Waters. But, you know, Ty Detmer is getting back into that rhythm that he had early. Remember on that first drive, how he just took the team down the field methodically. Then he got out of that. He's getting back into that rhythm now.
3 wide receivers. Irving Fryer. That's Charlie Garner. And he rumbles inside the 10-yard line. He likes this field.
Yeah, I don't know why the 49ers are on defense and Dana Stubberfield's over there in the sideline. You know, unless he's injured, they're moving the ball on him, and I think you ought to have your best players in there,
especially on this location in the field. It's second down, about 2.
Yeah, and they're playing a 4-man line. It's not that they're playing a 3-man line, and Stubberfield is one of their better run players.
That's Turner. And Turner, I don't believe, got quite enough for the first.
You know, there's one thing that teams do now, and I don't know that the 49ers are doing that, but it really kind of upsets me, is that rotating the guys, you know, where you rotate your guys to keep guys fresh. But if a guy's a dominant player and the other team's inside the 10-yard line, I don't think fresh is important.
If a guy is a dominant player, he doesn't need a rest.
In the old days, you never got one. If he's a dominant player, you pay him like a dominant player, and he plays every play.
Stubblefield remains on the sideline. He and Dolman both. Here's Detmer. The rush. And the 49ers intercepted Marquez Pope. Detmer just threw it up in the air, trying to throw it away, and he didn't throw it away far enough.
He was trying to get it out of bounds, but that was a heck of a job by Marquez Pope of the coverage. There was some pressure on Detmer. You see, he has to throw this ball, but he doesn't get enough on it. I mean, if you're going to get rid of the ball and you're going to try and throw it away, it's tough when you got a guy like Ken Norton right on you. That's why he didn't get it out there. That's why Marquez Pope got it.
If you're going to throw it away, throw it away. Have a look at the length of those cleats.
You know, when you're on the sideline, you don't need those 3/4-inch cleats, but when you're out there in that grass, you do need those 3/4 inch.
Steve Young gives to Terry Kirby.
Let's watch that interception again. Here's Marquez Pope here, and he's just playing a zone. And when Detmer gets the pressure here, I think he's trying to throw it away, but he doesn't get enough on it. Marquez Pope out there on top. He's just playing zone. And watch Detmer there. See, he just throws it away. I think he's trying to throw it out of bounds. There's no chance for the receiver to catch the ball. And Pope makes a heck of a catch and stays in bounds.
2nd and 8. The Eagles show blitz, and they don't come. Young has all kind of time again. And he threw it away. Flag on the play.
Yeah, made a good block on that is his left tackle, Steve Wallace. Mike Mamula, they're going to get any pressure. They got to get pressure from Mike Mamula, the right end. He tried a spinner on Steve Wallace. I'll tell you, Steve Wallace just handled it.
You know, that story of Steve Wallace, he had been with the 49ers for so long. He signed with the Eagles. All of a sudden, by his own admission, he got very heavy. Lost some of his quickness. The Eagles cut him. He came back here as a backup, he thought.
Interference, offense, number 40, 10 yards, still 2nd down.
Walt Coleman.
Let's watch this. Here's Mike Mamula here. Here's Steve Wallace. Now watch Mike Mamula is going to try and spin. See, he's going to hit in and try and spin. See the hit, and then you spin. Now watch Steve Wallace. As he just spins, he just stays with him and just takes him right down to the inside. Then that gave Steve Young, you know, had he had something open there to the left side, he could have thrown it there.
Young hands the ball to Kirby. Just continuing with Steve Wallace. He realized he had lost some of his quickness. He lost weight, lost down to 285. I know that sounds strange. But he lost down to 285, got that quickness back, and now he's starting and playing very well.
Yeah, and he was ready to retire.
Yeah.
And now he's improving. He's getting better at the end of the season. Probably his best games this year has been his last 5 games. Yep. Now he's thinking, what the heck? He's not going to retire from this.
Shit.
Young, low to Rice. Incomplete.
See, again, that's the thing with a 3-man line. They do give you those lanes, but you have to get the ball there. That was a thing that, you know, that I don't know if those ribs aren't bothering Steve Young now.
It looked like it on that throw.
I know it did. I mean, it looks like he's having trouble getting full range of motion. And if you've ever had rib injuries, anytime you move any part of your body, every part of your body hurts.
You can't cough, can't yawn.
Yeah, and it just any movement goes right to that rib.
Calvin Williams back deep for the Eagles. Regular returner save. Sprained his ankle. Williams says get away from it. Now he feels it.
No, he fair caught it. That's a penalty.
Yep. Flag comes down.
What he's saying is it hit the ground. He can't catch it on a fly.
Once you call for the fair catch, then you can't pick it up and run with it. You can't. Somebody else might, but you can't.
But I think once the ball hits the ground, I think that's what Calvin Williams is saying is if you fair catch it, you can't catch the ball and run with it. Calvin Williams is arguing that the ball hit the ground.
I don't think that makes any difference. If you call fair catch and you handle it, you can't advance it.
Yeah, I think when you call fair catch and when the ball hits the ground, then they have to blow the whistle.
We have an invalid fair catch signal on the receiving team, number 89. 5-yard penalty, and that'll be a first down.
Invalid signal. Now he's saying get away from it. Now he handles it. Now he can't do that. Shame on him. San Francisco leading Philadelphia in the NFC wild card matchup. The last one of this first weekend. 1st and 10 Philadelphia at their own 36. 49ers leading 7-0. Detmer gets to Waters. And nothing doing. Marquez Pope dragged him down. Steve Young, we mentioned earlier, had a problem with his ribs when he scored that touchdown, and it's a lasting problem.
Yeah, and you could just see when he throws the ball here that the motion of throwing the ball is painful to him. Watch as he throws the ball and kind of bends over, and that ball bounced into Jerry Rice. Here's the pass again, and just watch. It's just low, and it just bounces in front of Jerry Rice. So that rib is affecting his throwing motion, and he doesn't have full range of motion, and when he does, it's hurting him.
Detmer gets the screen pass out to Waters. Waters near an Eagle first down, chased down by Bryant Young. Steve Young over on the sideline trying to loosen up.
I don't know that you can loosen an injured rib up. I mean, that's the thing. The doctor was going to check him, then the doctor's hat blew off, so he had to go chase that. He'll get back to Steve Young, I'm sure.
Can't check anybody with a bare head.
But you know, the Eagles are moving the ball well. I mean, they moved down there once, they missed a field goal, moved down there again, they threw an interception. I mean, they're doing things to this 49er defense.
Everything but scoring. Here's Ricky Waters again. To about the 47 of San Francisco. Here's our Aflac trivia question. Who are the only wild card teams to appear in the Super Bowl? This, of course, a wild card matchup between San Francisco and Philadelphia. Who are the only teams, wild card teams, to appear? There goes Steve Young, headed for the locker room.
And I bet you if they're going to go in and take a look and maybe x-ray that rib, I wouldn't be surprised if they gave him some kind of medication.
Philadelphia just called a timeout. 2 minutes 3 seconds left. They'll get another one at the 2-minute warning, but the Eagles choose to use the timeout. Elvis Gerbach warming up. Steve Young just headed for the locker room. About half the lights are out here at 3Com Park. I had a power failure about 20 minutes before we came on the air. They haven't got all the lights back yet. Here's Ricky Waters.
You know, it's an interesting thing, Pat. They get the 2-minute warning timeout now, but when the 49ers were in that position on the field, they took a timeout, and then the Eagles took a timeout. I have no idea why.
The only thing I can think of is it has to do with the wind blowing in that direction. So maybe if they're going to try a field goal, they need help. 49ers 7, Philadelphia nothing. The Eagles at the 49er 40 with 2 minutes to go in the first half. The Eagles haven't played that badly. Charlie Garner was split out wide to the left. That's Waters. Waters taken down by Merton Hanks.
You know, it's an interesting thing with the, you know, we talked about what the Eagles are trying to do here. They're trying to, spread out this 49ers. See, by going 1, 2, 3, 4, they spread it out. Then they count the guys that are in here. So, what the 49ers are doing, they're sneaking these 2 guys in after they show them only 5 guys in that box. So that's a cat and mouse game being played.
Detmer back to throw. Pass caught by Calvin Williams. And that'll move the sticks.
Again, the Eagles have moved the ball this whole first half. I mean, they've moved to running, they've moved to passing, they have a good game plan, and then they get down close and they've just self-destructed.
Yeah, look at this.
Well, they have the time of possession, they have the number of plays. Look at this, 18 minutes, 32 plays. They've won on all those things except the not getting the opportunities when they got inside.
49ers took advantage of their opportunity, and they lead 7-0. Here's Detmer. Pass is caught inside the 10 by Jimmy Johnson. That's his 3rd catch. And now they say incomplete. Incomplete.
Hey, Jimmy Johnson is a tight end. He's going to be right here. And you see Ty Detmer throws that ball, and it just goes over his shoulder, and then it looks like the ball hit the ground as Jimmy Johnson was going down. Watch it. He has it up here. Now he's going down. He gets hit. He has control. And I think the ball hit the ground right there. Boy, that's a close one, though.
That is close. But they're bringing it back.
I don't know that they are. They're having a conference, too. They may bring it back, but they're also having a conference right down there where he caught it.
The Eagle offensive unit is walking back. The 49ers are celebrating.
I think one official.
1:15.
Reset the clock to 1:15.
They're saying, first of all, he said that the pass is incomplete.
Yep.
I think they talked about, remember, the ground can't cause a fumble, but you don't have control of the ball until you catch it and both feet hit the ground. So you had to have both feet hit the ground. Now, if he caught it, both feet hit the ground, then a fumble, then it would be the Eagles' ball right there.
But
he was awfully close.
Didn't have control. He was juggling it on the way down. 2nd and 10. Here's Detmer. Swings it outside the Waters. Out of bounds at about the 9.
Boy, does Ty Detmer have great awareness in the pocket there.
He really does.
You see him? I mean, he is a tough guy because there's guys flying all around him. Hey, watch him. I mean, he just stands there and stands there and stands there until he can find something. Then he moves and moves, and then he finds Ricky Waters out there and whap, just hits him with it.
One thing about Ty Detmer.
You see what Kevin Turner just did to Lee Woodall? That's an eye-opener.
Yeah.
That's one where you better have rear-view mirrors on your helmet.
If you have sinus problems, they're over. Here's Detmer. To Waters, to about the 6. Now, one of the things about Ty Detmer, where he grew up in Texas, Mission, Texas, The wind shouldn't bother him that much because it's always windy.
It doesn't look like anything bothers Ty Detmer now.
Var det en fet jul, eller?
Men hvordan skal vi bruke nettet for at det skal bli enda lettere i 97?
Hva med å legge hele gavekatalogen online?
Så kan barna e-maile ønskelistene sine rett til websiten vår.
IBM har sagt at med lov til stormen og webben kan vi kjøre hele opplegget fra hvor som helst. Hvor som helst?
Hvor som helst.
Bruk solkrem. Du er rød på nesa.
That was an Eagle timeout. They have one left. Second down for Philadelphia at the San Francisco 5-yard line. Maybe just outside the 5. They're trying to keep the ball dry. The umpire puts it down and backs away. 51 seconds left. One timeout left. Ricky Waters stopped as he crossed the 5 by Ken Norton. And a timeout taken by Philadelphia. They're out of timeouts now. 7-0 San Francisco. Steve Young back from the locker room. Changed jerseys. That's pretty obvious. 3rd and 3. Detmer walks away. Timeout, San Francisco.
San Francisco. Second team timeout.
And they have one left. Now, why would they take a timeout? Have the right defensive people in?
I don't think they had the right defensive people in, or maybe not enough of the right defensive people, because the Eagles came out in a different formation. Did you see them? They were in a full house offense. They had 3 guys in the backfield. And it looks like the 49ers weren't sure exactly what they were going to do on that. Watch this. You see when they come out here, you can see that they have, just let it go a little more. They have 1, 2, they have 3 guys there in the backfield. And the 49ers, you can see they're not sure where to line up. When they line up like this, a receiver in the backfield, and the 49er defense right here just wasn't ready to play defense.
That's Jimmy Johnson, the tight end, lined up at fullback.
Yeah, had Ty Detmer just snapped that ball while they were wandering around like that, he could have run it in himself. Now he has to throw it here. This has to be a passing play.
Pryor goes left. Johnson came out of the backfield to the right. Here's Detmer. Pass is picked off out of the end zone. The pass intercepted.
And the Eagles continue. That whole first half has been that way. They got down here, they missed a field goal. The second time they got down here, they throw their second interception. The one thing you can't do is you can't force it when you get down here. I mean, a field goal isn't as good as a touchdown, but it's better than nothing. And they just gave it up. That was just a force. That was just a force in there. There were 3 red jerseys plus an official.
Roy Barker came up with the interception.
Yeah, he was dropping off, and he just started to rush the passer and then just stood there.
That's a bad place to force it. You pointed out there's just too many people in there.
Yeah, and you know, on 3rd down, you know, and a lot of times you force it because it's 3rd down and you want the touchdown. But what you did is by forcing it, you gave up 3 points.
And so that is the last play of the first half as the 2 teams head for the locker room with the 49ers leading 7-0. Steve Young came out. Don't forget to stay with us at the half. JB, Terry, Howie, and Ronnie. Highlights of the Indianapolis-Pittsburgh game. A live interview with the Packers coach Mike Holmgren. All that coming up on the Dockers Khakis halftime. That's the end of the first half with the score San Francisco 7, Philadelphia nothing. James Brown, Terry Bradshaw, Howie Long, and Ronnie Lott will be along with the Dockers Khakis halftime report following these messages. Back at 3Com Park, the NFC wild card contest led by the 49ers 7-0. Not that the Eagles haven't had some opportunities. They've missed them all, including this field goal by Gary Anderson.
Yeah, remember, that's what started it. They had a good drive, their opening drive. They went down there and missed that field goal. And another time they got down there, remember Ty Detmer trying to throw the ball away, I think. Throws it to Marquez Pope. And then here, he just forced this one. I mean, his receiver got knocked down. The umpire got knocked down. He threw it to a defensive lineman. And in that situation, if it's third down and you're there and you don't have anything, you have to throw the ball away. Now, I know a lot of quarterbacks think it's third down. This is my only shot. I got to force something in there. But 3 is not as good as 7, but it's better than none.
And when you force something in there from that, in that area of the field, there are just too many people in there.
And I'm sure what Ray Rhodes is thinking about and talking about, and I learned years and years ago from George Blanda, the toughest points to make in any game are the first ones.
Just like a golf tournament.
Yep, you got to get something on the board.
This is Derek Lavelle. Playoff turnover ratio, the teams with 2+ ratio win 81% of their games, and today the 49ers are +2.
Yeah, and I think they have to play a lot better, though. I mean, the time of possession, the Eagles had the ball almost twice as much in that first half as the 49ers did. And Steve Young is hurt. I mean, Steve Young has bad ribs, and the last time we saw him throw the ball to Jerry Rice, he couldn't throw it. He was really hurt.
But he's back at quarterback.
Yeah, but he's hurting.
Hand off to Kirby. Kirby around the corner. Get out of bounds by Vincent. Here's what you were talking about statistically.
Yeah, I mean, they had 3 plays, not a punt, 3 plays, not a punt. Then they did have this one good drive, but that was the one where Steve Young scored the touchdown and also was injured on that play.
Yeah. Kirby got enough for a first down. Well, the 49ers are at their own 40.
And the Eagles are playing well on defense with this nickel defense, playing with 5 defensive backs the whole game.
Young back to throw it. Comes out of there, and he's going to run with it. And he's going to get a first down and more. It run out of bounds at the 42-yard line of Philadelphia. He may be hurt, but he sure is courageous.
Yeah, watch what he does here as he's going out there, and watch how he directs Jesse Sapolo. He's looking. You see that little kick there? That's the thing that he does great. Just kicked out of that. Now he's telling Jesse, come on out here. Now get that guy right there. You see him? He moved him. Come on. And then he pointed to the guy who wanted him to block. So you call a play in the huddle. You call a snap count. Then you tell the guy to come with you. And then you tell him, okay, go get him.
You talk about being under control. Rice starts in motion. He hasn't been much of a factor. Kirby is hit before he gets back to the line of scrimmage.
You know, I wonder, just watching Steve Young walk here, I know that he's hurt, and I wonder if he can throw the ball. He's trying to loosen something up now, and I'm sure that at halftime, you know that they did X-ray him to make sure that he doesn't have a broken rib and all those things, and gave him some kind of medication to loosen it up. But he hasn't thrown a ball since that one he threw to Jerry Rice into the dirt.
And as you and I were talking before, sometimes maybe it's not broken, but if it's a bruised cartilage, it can be just as painful.
Or that torn cartilage where the cartilage tears away from the bone.
Yeah, well, we'll see if he can throw it. That didn't look like much.
No, and that hurt him too.
Yeah.
You can see him when he's throwing the ball. You can see him cringe. And so I don't know how much longer he's going to be able to do this, because you watch him here, and again, he tried to throw one and then ran, and this is the first one that he's thrown, since that Jerry Rice one. But I mean, just watch the way he threw that, and then he kind of bends over after that one.
That looks painful. Third down and 10. Young, incomplete. Brent Jones, the target. The 49ers will have to punt. He threw that one pretty well.
Yeah, that one didn't look bad. And it's going to be interesting to see if he's going to be able to keep that thing loose. That was good defense there. And that's Don Griffin. Now, he's really the 5th defensive back. They play their regular 4 defensive back. The 5th defensive back is Don Griffin, and he's playing today on Brent Jones.
And he played him very well. Thompson back to punt it. Fumble by Calvin Williams, but he got back on it. So the Eagles take over deep in their own territory after a 32-yard punt.
Card Special is brought to you by Toyota and their full line of trucks. Toyota trucks always come through. By Nike. By Baked Lay's Potato Crisps. Bet you can't eat just one. And by Dockers Khakis. Hey, nice pants.
Seven 0 at 3Com Park. Steve Young still uncomfortable at best.
Well, you can tell, we were talking about ribs and how they hurt. You can see that just breathing there hurt Steve Young's ribs. I don't know how much longer he's going to be able to go, and I don't know if he can throw the ball. I don't know if the Eagles know it either.
Detmer gives to Waters, who gets a yard, maybe. A lot of pressure by the 49ers on Ty Detmer during the first half. 2 interceptions, 2 big interceptions.
I think
excuse me, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that was a real change of pace, because I think that, Ty Detmer started and he was just moving the ball down the field. And the 49ers said enough of this, and they started coming after him.
They started blitzing.
Right, and then they missed the field goal. Then Ty Detmer had 2 interceptions in the red zone.
Charlie Garner split out wide right. Pass was thrown complete.
Ball. Yeah, but Ty Detmer is the type of guy that's been a quarterback all his life, and his dad was his high school coach. His dad coached him since he was a kid. His brother Coy, of course, is a quarterback playing in a bowl game tomorrow for Colorado.
Looks as if he can't hear now. The signals through his helmet.
I think it's a short yardage play, and I'm not sure that he knew that he had his short yardage people in, which he does. You can see they're in this tight formation here.
2 tight ends.
Short yardage formation.
Ricky Waters with a second surge picked up the first down.
Yeah, when you see Bryant Young right there go backwards, you're going to get a first down. Bryant Young probably stood up on that play. That's the thing that you can't do in short yardage or goal line. You can't let the guy get underneath you. And when you see Bryant Young go backwards, you see him stand up right there. Of course, he stood up because he got a double team. But that double team stood him up, pushed him back a little, and that was enough for the first down.
That's Fryer in motion. The pitch is back to the fullback, Kevin Turner, and a flag on the play.
I'll tell you, the wind caught that flag. that flag went like 10, 20, 25 yards. That flag went in the air before it hit the ground.
Holding against Philadelphia. The weather has improved. It's still miserable, but it's improved, if that's possible.
I don't know. If you don't count the wind, it probably has, but it's windy as heck down there.
Yep.
Holding, offense, number 87, 10-yard penalty.
Holding against Jason Dunn.
Yeah, when it comes in from that deep. That was a deep guy who threw that one. He's the guy, he's the deep official that keys the tight end.
He's lucky to get his flag back.
I don't know. And he's 20 yards downfield. Dunn's doing okay right there. I don't think there's any holding there. That's a pretty good block. I don't know how that guy saw that from 25 yards back. I think he had blurry vision from the wind.
1st and 20. Back at the 11, Detmer retreats. To Fryer. No, to Jimmy Johnson. Another catch and a busy day for him.
This offensive line is doing a good job here, because you could hear the fans, and they knew it. 1st and 20, they had him back up. Here's where you want to get a turnover. But these guys right here, if Detmer is going to pass the ball, that offensive line has to do a job of pass protection. You got to stop those guys up the middle, and they stopped Bryant Young just enough to get rid of the ball.
And Chris Dolman came around the corner just about at the same time.
And that's usually their pass rush. Bryant Young up the middle, Chris Dolman around the corner. That's the one giving them trouble today.
Kevin Turner hit behind the line of scrimmage by Norton, who will let you know about it.
Doesn't bother Ty Detmer. He was letting the wrong guy know about it. But what Norton did, usually the linebackers are behind the line of scrimmage and they pursue up and down behind the line of scrimmage. That time he penetrated. He hit a gap, got in the backfield, and threw him for a loss. That's Ty Detmer here. he just kind of stared him down and headbutted him. He didn't mind that.
3 wide receivers on 3rd and 7. Detmer coming out, chased by Bryant Young. Tried to fake him. Didn't take the fake.
Oh, that and Tim McDonald came from a blitz on the left side of the offense. And then Ty Detmer had to take off. And we're going to get Bryant Young, who'll get him here. You see, he gets a double team, and then he sees Detmer. He just runs right down the line. Don't run where he is. Run where he's going. That's exactly what Bryant Young did. But the thing that flushed him out was from the other side, was a blitz from the other side by Tim McDonald.
And Detmer might be hurt. Terry Kirby back deep for the 49ers. Hutton to punt, left-footed. Line drive kick handled by Kirby. Steps away from the first man down. And try to outrun the rest of them. Unsuccessfully. 47-yard punt, 6-yard return. Good coverage by the Eagles after that line drive punt. Ty Detmer shaken up.
You know what I'm sick of hearing about?
The internet.
The internet. What are you doing?
Surfing the web.
Nice hair. Solarized pictures of dead fat rock stars. UFOs. $1 zillion worth of technology, and what are we doing with it?
Browsing.
Here's an idea. Use the internet for something useful, like running a business, okay? All right? No kids, no chat rooms, no smiley face. Just raw, naked...
Ty Detmer coming off the field after being tackled by Bryant Young. Obviously in pain. It didn't look too serious, except his left leg buckled a little bit. He's headed out. Meantime, Steve Young remains. The pass is caught by Floyd. And William Floyd stays on his feet and gets a first down. Dawkins finally brought him down. Both quarterbacks have been up that hallway to the dressing room.
And I still don't, obviously Ty Detmer's not okay. I think what happened when he went down, it looked like it could be one of those groin pulls because, you know, the wet weather, you will slide and you have a tendency to do that. But Steve Young still can't throw the ball. I mean, that was a completed pass, but that was one that the old age would have said, lob me one. He lobbed him one.
That was Mark Rippon loosening up. That's Kirby. And he gets 2 or 3. Detmer's right hamstring, and sometimes that goes with that groin you were talking about.
That's that same type of thing. You know that when you hit and then your feet go out, you just stretch a muscle. And that's what Ty Detmer did, because it didn't look like a knee or an ankle. It did look like a muscle thing, a groin or a hamstring it was.
So that's Mark Rippon getting ready.
You know, and the other thing, whoever wins this game has a short week because they have to play the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay on Saturday.
Floyd. Right now, again, let's go to the Fox Television Center for McDonald's Game Break and James Brown.
And once again, a solid day by Jerome Bettis. This touchdown put Pittsburgh ahead. Bettis 102 yards on 25 carries. Pittsburgh moves on to meet New England. Let's take it back to Pat and John.
7-0 49ers.
Yeah, at some
pointing
point,
out that short week.
Yeah, and I was just going to say here, if Steve Young is healthy, he ought to get the ball to Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice only has 1 catch for 3 yards.
That was on the opening drive.
And if Steve Young isn't healthy, why is he running another quarterback sneak? Someone had to call that one, and it wasn't Steve Young. Mark Trestman must think he's okay.
He doesn't know he isn't okay.
I don't know. That's a surprise to me. I mean, you know, he's your best runner, and he's a very good quarterback sneak runner, but with bad ribs, I don't know that I would. I don't know that I could call a quarterback sneak. I mean, he is really hurting.
That was not a smile.
No, that was a cringe.
There's Steve Young back to throw. Jerry Rice, a one-handed catch. Rice out of bounds at the 3. Vincent took it down. One-handed catch by Jerry Rice.
You know, it's just a matter of time. Here's Jerry Rice here. Now again, they try and play him physical. Bobby Taylor up there physical, hitting him. Jerry Rice gets a step on him. Steve Young hits him with the pass. Jerry Rice brings it in with one hand, his left hand, and then takes off. Look at that catch. We just wonder why they waited so long to get to Jerry Rice. But on the other hand, you know, it's just a matter of time, and this guy's going to get you.
And, John, that was a pretty good throw.
That was a heck of a throw. I mean, I didn't know if Steve Young could still throw the ball, but he just proved on that play that he can.
Timeout 49ers. They'll have 2 left. 7-0. They lead.
I think Jerry Rice is one of the greatest wide receivers that ever played the game, and for making plays like this. I mean, he knew when he got a step on Bobby Taylor that he had him, and Steve Young knew that he had him, and he just laid that thing out there, and maybe Jerry Rice being one of the few guys that would make that catch and keep running. See, he didn't jump, didn't leave his feet, just ran right through it.
Rice goes in motion. Young. Rice, touchdown. When you get into big games, great players make great plays.
Right, they have to. You know, and it was just a matter of time. I mean, you know, before this drive, Jerry Rice had only caught 1 pass for 3 yards. And that was that 3rd down pass. It wasn't a 1st down. And you knew if Steve Young was okay, at some point he has to get the ball to Jerry Rice, because that's what the 49er offense is. Steve Young, Jerry Rice.
The extra point by Wilkins is good. And the 49ers move ahead 14-0. This game summary brought to you by Budweiser. The Eagles' problems in the red zone inside the 22 interceptions and a missed field goal. Steve Young, 10 out of 15. Rush for a touchdown, threw a touchdown pass to Jerry Rice. The winner plays at Green Bay. Mark Rippon warming up after Ty Detmer went to the locker room. I haven't seen him come back. Our information was it was a hamstring problem. Ball blew off the tee.
Remember that year that Mark Rippon had with the Washington Redskins? It was one of those years where anything he did, anything he threw up, was caught for touchdowns.
Sort of like the year that Brett Favre has had. The year that he had last year as well. Witherspoon downs it in the end zone.
I think the 49ers have the Eagles where they want them. All they have to do is keep them there. I mean, to me, this is a big series here for the Eagles on offense and the 49ers on defense. I think the game can be won here by the 49ers. If they just take off on Rippon, you know, and make them punt, get the ball back, and go score again, they can turn this game around right now and win it right here. Jerry Rice is down there still leading. He's still leading the cheers on that last touchdown.
1st and 10 at the 20. For Philadelphia, Mark Rippon is the quarterback. San Francisco up 14-0. Rippon gets the Waters, lost a yard. Ken Norton Jr. led the tacklers. Again, we asked you this question in the first half, and things happened so quickly we didn't get back to it. Who are the only wild card teams to appear in the Super Bowl? There have been 4. The Aflac trivia answer: 75 Cowboys, the 85 Patriots, the 92 Buffalo Bills, and the only team to go all the way, the Raiders, when they beat the Eagles in New Orleans. Flag on the play. Rippon fires to Fryer.
I think that's one of the plays that's going to be that the whistle blew before the ball was snapped.
Detmer is back, but limping.
That'll be against the offense.
False start. Prior to the snap, offense, number 80, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Fryer caught the pass. He was out of bounds, and the violation was against him. There's Detmer.
Yeah, I would say that Ty Detmer's not going to play anymore. You could just tell the way he walked out there and put that jacket on that hamstring pull or tear or whatever it is isn't going to let him be able to move well enough to play in this game, and Mark Rippon's going to have to finish it.
Rippon back to throw it. Look right, throws left, throws out of bounds for Irving Fryer.
Marquez Pope was right there. They brought Fryer in motion. Marquez Pope ran all the way with him. Then they stopped Fryer. Then they tried to go away and then come back to him. But Marquez Pope stays all the way. You see him come in motion there. Then Marquez Pope goes up and jams him. Fryer gets away and starts to go to the outside. And Marquez Pope says, uh-oh, I let him go. I better get on my horse and get back there with that guy. Marquez Pope is a very physical cornerback.
And has become a very capable cornerback.
He plays cornerback like a linebacker.
The draw play to Waters. Nothing doing, and the Eagles will have to punt. It looks like it's going to be up to number 11.
Yeah, but that's where the 49ers could win the game. Stopping them right there, getting the ball right here, and going in and scoring again and putting this thing away.
Terry Kirby back deep.
And I think they know it. I think their defense knows it. I think their coaching staff, that's John Marshall down there, he knows it. And I think these fans here know it. And the worst thing is the Eagles might know it.
You can sort of feel it. Hutton's kick is low, end over end. Kirby feels it. Down in a hurry, Boykin to make the stop. A 40-yard punt, 3-yard return. The 49ers take over at their own 45. On January 26th, Fox will televise our first Super Bowl. And starting now, you can be a part of the most interactive NFL experience on the internet. Check out SuperBowl.com, brought to you by IBM.
If you know how to check out SuperBowl.com.
Well, you just eliminated me. We have some friends who know how to do it.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure there are friends or people around here that would know how to get SuperBowl.com. And then there are people in here that wouldn't even know where to go to start to get SuperBowl.com.
Count me among those also.
Well, where do you think? I mean, if you had to guess where SuperBowl.com would come up on, what would you guess you would push to get it?
I'd go to the airlines and see if they knew how to do it. Second down. Kirby close to a first, about a yard short.
Yeah, again, the Eagles have played this whole game with this nickel defense, and then they moved around. They played it with a 3-man line and with a 4-man line. And again, I think what that's done is it made the 49ers not pass as much, but run more to try and run them out of it. And they have never run them out of it. And again, the 49ers' success has come when they've been able to throw the ball.
3rd and 1.
Steve Young has to be okay, or the toughest man in the world, or medication is very strong and working very well. One of those three.
Is that a multiple choice?
Yeah, no, or maybe it's all of the above, or maybe 2 out of 3, or 1 out of 3.
I think it's 2 out of 3.
Because I mean, to have those ribs, and we saw, you know, in the first half, how he would cringe every time he would just move or breathe or anything. And now he's out there running quarterback sneaks and throwing strikes to Jerry Rice.
Young back to throw it. He can stand around and fake people and wind up. Now that's a slide. That is a slide.
Yeah. Feet first. That's the old one. When you slide feet first, then they can't touch you. And he wasn't. I think he looked around enough and couldn't see that anything good was going to happen at the end of this. But look how he can buy time here. Pretty good pass protection. Couldn't find anything. But now look, he buys that time, nothing to throw there, and figures the heck with it. Yeah, that's not a bad slide.
No.
That's the old hook slide. Remember where you would slide on one side and put the other foot in the air? And then some guys could pop up and be on the base. Remember how you did that?
I never could pop up.
I couldn't pop up either. I used to watch those guys that could go and they could go down there and slide, boom, and pop up and be on the base. I used to slide. I used to take a divot.
I bet. I can understand that. I got a picture of that.
Well, I think there's probably something in common there, that anyone that takes a divot when he slides doesn't know how to .com.
Well, I'd be tangled up with the base, and they'd be up already dusting off. End of 3, 14-0. There's a no-show who attended.
Yeah, he's the guy that has the stuff that he's not supposed to have, and he doesn't have the stuff he's supposed to have. He's in charge of that rocket right there.
That's a church.
Was it a church?
Yeah.
I thought it was a rocket.
Steve Young throws it away. Owens in the vicinity.
I say this is a rocket. You say it's a church?
Yeah. Well,
that's a steeple to a church, is what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Here's the church, here's the steeple, and inside are all the people.
That's... You must have been a child at one time. You heard that.
I'm not going that that's a church.
Okay. I'm not going to go find out. Thompson's kick. Marksay lets it bounce, slips, and the 49ers will down it at the 15. There's the steeple without all the people.
He has all the answers.
This Fox NFC Wildcard Special is brought to you by the new Dodge. It's about change. By Lotus. Work the web with Lotus Domino. By the United States Marine Corps. The change is forever. And by the NASDAQ stock market. Visit www.nasdaq.com.
Back at 3Com Park, the 49ers leading 14-0. They'll be ready for the elements. Mark Rippon, the quarterback. Stumble on the way back. Pass is caught by Irving Fryer. Very little happened, though, after he caught it. The Eagles lead in every statistical category except two. Two very big ones. Turnovers and the score.
Yeah, and they had the opportunities to get that, that first score on the board. And I've always felt until you get that first score on the board, the longer it takes, the more difficult it gets. And that's what the Eagles are running into here today.
Here's Rippon back to throw it again. The pass is caught by Fryer. That's enough for a first down. There was a Rippon throw.
Yeah, he got that one in there. It was just a turn-in out here by Fryer on Troy Drakeford. This is a place to go. I mean, right up in here, work on this guy here, Drakeford. I think if the 49ers have a defensive weakness, it's right there. In fact, a couple weeks ago, they ran him. Carolina did. They ran him right out of the game.
Charlie Garner takes his place in the Eagle backfield with Waters. And that's Waters with the ball. Crosses the 40.
Ricky Waters was so excited to be coming back here. He said that he knew there was going to be a day where, he'd come back and play the 49ers, and it would be exciting because, this is his first team and the team that got him started and all those things. But he said he didn't know it'd be a playoff game. He said, so you add the first time back and the first time against your old teammates and a playoff game. He said, that may be bigger than he can take right now.
You go all the way back to the history of the two teams. They've never played in the playoffs before. This is the first meeting. Rippon gets it to Fryer. And Fryer gets to the 42. Right now for a McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown at our Fox Television Center.
All right, Pat, the Cowboys turned on the offense yesterday, scoring 40 points. They advanced to meet the Carolina Panthers, who are 8-0 at Ericsson Stadium. That will be coming your way next weekend, and San Francisco, winner of the San Francisco Eagles game, plays Green Bay on Saturday. Back to Pat and John.
And we'll be in Carolina next week, and that town will be upside down. You know that. That's Ricky Waters. Down to the 40.
Yeah, I was saying how the 49ers had a chance to end that game, and but they didn't do it on that last drive. I mean, they let the Eagles get the ball back, and the Eagles are still in this thing. I mean, I think now they still have to get a score, and the longer you go without getting that first one, like I said before, the tougher that becomes. But they got to get something on the board, then they can still make a game out of this.
You got to keep one eye on the clock, and it's running with 11:40. That's plenty of time, but you have to be efficient. Rippon back to throw it. Across the middle and high. Intended for Mark Say, incomplete.
And Rippon is upset with Mark Say. In fact, he's walking up there and talking to him. You can see he's talking to Say right now.
Not like Mark Rippon hadn't been to war in one of these games before. There were a lot of playoff games when he was with the Redskins. So this is not a new experience for this quarterback.
No, he's a 10-year veteran, and like you said, he's been in big games. He's been in Super Bowls. He was the MVP in a Super Bowl. So he knows how to play these big games. I mean, that part of it's not going to work. It's just that he hasn't played that much, and he's going to be a little rusty. And he hasn't practiced that much.
They have to get him time, and they do. And Rippon throws too hard and too high for Calvin Williams. Do you punt or do you leave your group in there?
And Tyrone Drakeford is on Calvin Williams. There's Calvin Williams right here. And you can see Drakeford is right with him. Calvin Williams doesn't make much of a move there. He's kind of, if you got to get that, and if you have to have man, if it's man coverage, you have to run away from man. You come under control in a zone, and you run away from man. Calvin Williams didn't run away from man coverage.
On a field like this, that's a difficult task. The Eagles are going to punt. Kirby signals fair catch, makes it at the 9. So the 49ers will now keep it on the ground and try to eat up some time on that clock. 14-0 they lead. (14-0) the 49ers over the Eagles. The Eagles have never been shut out in their playoff history. Never. That streak's in danger today. 49ers have the ball at their own 9.5-yard line with 11:15 left to play. Steve Young, excuse me. Here's Steve Young. Pointing. Young gets the first down. He took a shot to the ribs. He just wiped off.
That's what I was talking about with Bill Walsh before the game. And he said the most important thing is keeping your hands and arms dry. But I think this guy with ribs and running like this is either the toughest, most courageous guy. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you do that. I mean, I know his ribs are hurt, and I know that he has a pad on those ribs, but he just opened his ribs up and took a shot right there to him.
7 carries, 57 yards for Young, and a touchdown. And again, he's the leading rusher for the 49ers.
Oh my! I think when you're looking about, talking about players in this league and looking at players and role models and guys that you want to respect. I mean, sometimes they don't always get it. But I think if you look at a guy that you want to respect, I think this Steve Young is a pretty good guy to look to.
There is nothing wrong with that. Nothing. In addition to all the toughness and all the talent he's displayed, he's just a heck of a guy.
Yeah, and he's a competitor. I mean, he's a man, he's a competitor, and he knows how to play.
Pass is complete to Brett Jones, and Jones, it so often happens to him. When the collision happens, you see his feet first.
I mean, he's a guy that, played professional football. Everything didn't go his way, and he stayed with it.
Yeah.
And, he was a backup. He was with some bad teams and just stayed with it. And then then good things happen to him.
This game is presented by authority of the National Football League as intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the San Francisco 49ers and the National Football League is prohibited. First down. Kirby to the 45. Less than 9 now minutes on the scoreboard clock. 14-0 San Francisco.
One of the things that the 49ers did when they were getting ready to play the Eagles is they looked at their Green Bay Packer game because they figured that the 49ers would, that the Eagles would play them a lot like the Packers did, and they were saying that they can't believe that they lost to the Packers the last time.
When we were over at practice on Friday, they were a very confident bunch. They said nobody wants to play us.
Yeah, because if there's any team that was in the wild card, that played this weekend, I think there was any team that was peaking, it was this team, the 49ers.
Well, it's like we were talking about, there's a flag on the play, like we were talking about in the opening.
Prior to the snap,
there was a time a couple of years ago when they made things happen twice as fast as anybody else, and they're getting back close to that pace again. They were.
Well, that was a Bill Walsh thing. It was always the old boxing thing. How they always tell the fighter to get off first. Get the punch before you get punched. That was a way that he taught this offense. Get off first. Punch before you get punched. There's Bill Walsh right there, kind of an administrative assistant, and getting, having more and more to say as this season goes on, but that was always his thing. Beat him to the punch. The 49ers didn't do that earlier in the season, but they look like they have that back now.
Here's Young to throw it. Now he may take off though. No, he throws it. Found somebody open finally. That's Terry Kirby. Didn't get enough for the first down, but he got something from nothing.
And that's the problem with rushing Steve Young. It's like you got him. No, you don't know he's going to run. No, he's going to throw. And that's what you have to defend. As a defender, when he does that, I heard Howie Long talking about the bind that puts you in. He starts up like this now. Do you come up to tackle him, or do you stay back? If you stay back, he's going to run. If you come up, then he's going to just buy time and throw the ball like he did right there.
And the worst thing you can do is do nothing, which so often happens.
That's what the 49er defense did against Barry Sanders on Monday night.
Wide open is William Floyd. Floyd gets to the Philadelphia 33-yard line, and they'll move those sticks again.
This offensive line, this group right here knows that Steve Young is hurt, and they know that they have to give him the protection. Watch, they're coming in a blitz, but watch it, the protection. I mean, the backs are blocking. Everyone's blocking. They picked up everything.
Steve Wallace blocked 2.
I know Steve Wallace got 2, and bar none, William Floyd got a big one coming up the middle. That's not bad. If you're an old left tackle and you got 2 helmets on and you can block 2, you do a lot of things in 2.
You can play several more years, which he'd like to do. Floyd picking his way straight ahead. Today's game is being produced by Bob Stenner, directed by Sandy Grossman. Technical producer is Bob Muller. The associate director is Rich Russo. Broadcast associates Mike Roig and Fran Morrison. Studio is produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy, and the executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill.
Now, there's a guy who had a tough job right there, Jesse Sapolo, the center. You talk about keeping your hands and arms dry and have to touch the football every time before your quarterback gets it. Jesse's been doing a good job today.
Young gets it to Rice on the old bootleg.
Well, they've been doing that. I mean, that's a big part of their offense now, is moving Jerry Rice around. I mean, he's a flanker, he's a slot, he's in the backfield, he's in motion. Here he comes in motion here. You see him come across, and then the bootleg, you see him fake there. Here comes Steve Young. And then what Jerry Rice does is Jerry Rice runs the pattern of the tight end on that play. We saw that bootleg strong earlier. Brent Jones caught it. That time, Jerry Rice was in Brent Jones's position running the bootleg.
3rd and 2. Floyd will get the 2. And they'll take some more time off that clock. Well, you look ahead. We got two great matchups, assuming, of course, the 49ers hang on to win, or continue as they are to win, I should say, I guess. We got some great matchups next weekend. These 49ers at Green Bay and Dallas at Carolina.
Yeah, and you still have, you know, to me, the champion is always a champion until someone beats them. And I've said that about the Dallas Cowboys all year, that, you know, who's the best team? The best team is the champion from last year until someone dethrones them.
They have that ability to turn it on when the occasion arises. We were talking earlier about the NFC playoff picture. The AFC is not unattractive. Jacksonville, who shocked everybody, including Buffalo, maybe everybody but Jacksonville, goes to Denver, and Pittsburgh and New England in the other one.
I don't know that Denver's a team you want to be playing now either, especially in Mile High Stadium.
Tough place. But so is Rich Stadium. Harry Kirby stopped by Dawkins. You were talking about the Dallas Cowboys and how they are the defending champions. They play in a game we're doing next week at Carolina, and either Philadelphia or San Francisco goes to Green Bay. And you think this guy had something in mind when he got up today?
Yeah, he had to think about that. I mean, at some point he had to think, okay, I'm going to go to the 49er game, and I'm going to think of next week because we're going to win. We're going to play Green Bay, so I'm going to shred up a cheesehead.
I never could do that without scraping all the skin off my knuckles.
I never had the patience to. If I was going to eat the cheese, I would just eat it like it was, or you take a knife and take a big old hunk out of it.
Well, that just goes to show who's the smartest. I left some meat in the shredder, and you enjoyed the cheese.
Look at these uniforms. I mean, you don't see that anymore. Where it used to be where players would always get muddy and dirty, and now, and I think they put something in the soil where you didn't get it. Now we're back where we got the mud and the dirt, and we even got some paint mixed in on those uniforms now.
Third down. Young just started on the rollout. Now he comes over to get the ball. A flag on the play. Intentional grounding, I'm sure.
Yeah, but there was no whistle. I mean, that's why Steve Young came over and jumped on that ball, because whatever happened, they didn't blow a whistle.
Intentional grounding.
That's automatic loss of down anyway, but Steve Young, he did the right thing, because everyone, you're always taught to play the whistle. The whistle did not blow. I mean, he intentionally grounded, and they threw a flag, but they didn't blow a whistle.
Intentional grounding on the offense, number 8. Loss of down, 4th down.
But you're going to see it's that bootleg again, where he's bootlegging to the left, and he just got hit just as he got off that bootleg. He just got hit right then, and he tried to throw the ball away, and that was intentional grounding. But Steve Young thought that maybe they could have ruled that a fumble.
Thought so. So, as you said, he did what he usually does, the right thing.
You see what Mike Mamula tried to do to him, though, when he was down?
No.
He tried to hit him right there, and he missed him. And he just hit his own shoulder right into the turf, because Steve Young rolled, and Mamula went into the turf.
3.5 minutes left. Thompson back to punt. Mark Say deep for the Eagles. Thompson.
The pooch.
And it's going to pooch into the end zone. It was headed for the corner, but went too far. 31-yard punt. They'll bring it back to the 20. 14-0. San Francisco leading Philadelphia.
Now that is a football look.
Yep.
Steve Wallace, he's been in there battling all day, protecting Steve Young, protecting Steve Young's left side that he can see or bootleg to. Jerry Rice is still happy with that big catch that he had, followed by a touchdown.
And always neat, regardless. To Kevin Turner from Ripon. Ball squirted out of bounds, but no harm done. Ken Norton Jr. draped around his legs.
You know, Ken Norton Jr. has been draped around a lot of guys' legs today. I think he's having one of his best years this year, but he's been all over the field today. I mean, he's been you know, on passing plays, he's been making tackles, he's been blitzing, and you know, on pass rushes, he's been penetrating and making tackles on run stops in the backfield. He's played very well today.
Rain started to blow in again, and Ricky Waters slipped down. Less than 3. We'll get a final look at the playoff picture later today, as coming up is the NASDAQ stock market postgame report with J.B. Terry, Howie, Ronnie. Preview of all the upcoming games. It's the last one this weekend. Rippon locks it outside, incomplete. 2:39 left to play. There's a football picture, too. Jesse Sapolo. Boy,
he's done a heck of a job, because, you know, you always think in wet weather, the biggest thing you have to do is keep the football dry, and the keeping the football dry goes to the center. He should never, he always had a rule, never ever snap a ball that's wet.
And Jesse, what a warrior he's been. If they need a guard, he plays guard. If it's time to go back to center, he goes back and plays center. No matter where he is, he plays well.
And if things go bad and the 49ers lose, the guy they always interview is Jesse Sapolo.
Right. Irving Fryer, the intended receiver. It's Ken Norton Jr. again that breaks it up.
Like I said, Ken Norton Jr. has been all over this field today. He's kind of letting you know it, but we do know that. I mean, we've seen that. You don't have to hit yourself on the chest. We already saw that you did it.
Ken Norton Sr. has to be very proud.
That's John Marshall, his coach there, is very proud. Everyone's giving him hugs. Isn't winning great? I mean, you know, you win and everyone loves everyone and hugs and smiles, and
hey, we win every week when we get a chance to work.
And then on the other side, you see the frustration of it. Jerry Rice is not neat. Yeah, I was going to say, you said he's always neat, and then I was looking at, and on a muddy day, you can't be neat. You can't stay neat.
He's neat compared to the rest of them.
Yeah, but I mean, he doesn't want dirty pants and dirty shirt and his shirt tail hanging out and all that. That's the first time I've ever seen Jerry Rice's shirt tail hanging out.
Even at practice. That's William Floyd, who's stymied by the Philadelphia defense. Timeout, Philadelphia. They'll have one left now. 49ers leading 14-0. How good is the X-Files this year? It's been nominated for 3 Golden Globe Awards, including Best Drama, Best Actor, and Best Actress. That's how good it is. If you're one of the few who hasn't seen it, watch the X-Files tonight at 9, 8 Central on Fox. 2nd and 9.
Chris Dahlman, the offensive guard for the 49ers, just limped off Pat, and Derek Deese is now playing right guard.
This is Derek Lavelle. Again, stick around after this is over for the postgame report. The NASDAQ stock market postgame report with JB, the whole cast, a divisional playoff preview. .222 left to play. San Francisco 14, Philadelphia nothing. And it looks like the 49ers will be headed for Green Bay. And who knows what the temperature will be. Today it's been very unpleasant. This is Steve Young. Rolls right and out of bounds after he picked up the first down.
You know, he has to be okay. I mean, that's Chris Dahlman, the right guard, going out there. But Steve Young, I mean, we saw him and how much he was hurting there at the end of the first half, and whatever it is, he's gotten better. Because just the fact that he's run bootlegs, he's run quarterback sneaks, he's doing all these things, he's fine. I mean, he put on a burst there.
Yep.
I mean, he put on a burst where he looks like a running back.
He's always been very fast.
And that's the thing about him. I mean, you know that he can pass, and you know that he can move, and he can run, but he can also run with speed, the speed of a back.
First down, San Francisco. This is Lavelle. He is knocked backwards inside the 15 after he got perhaps a yard, and another one of the 49er offensive linemen gets up limping.
Well, what they're going to do now when they have Jerry Rice and he takes off his gloves, he isn't going to play anymore. The 49ers probably aren't going to pass anymore.
I wouldn't think they would. 2 minutes left. The Eagles have no timeouts. Here's today's Miller Lite play of the game. This was not a touchdown, but we were doubting at the time if Steve Young's ribs were well enough for him to throw. And the perfect strike, the one-handed catch to Jerry Rice. That certainly qualifies as the play of the day. Steve Young, knowing the Eagles are out of timeouts, just takes a knee.
Well, now George Seifert can start complaining. He said he didn't want to before the game because he had to win this game against the Eagles, but now he played a Monday night, then he plays Sunday. Now he's going to have a short week, and the thing that he's complaining is playing an early game. He said it's going to be, they're going to play that game in Green Bay at 9:30 a.m. on Saturday, California time. So George Seifert last Friday was already complaining about that. Then he stopped himself. He said, oh, geez, I can't be complaining about that one because we have to win this one. Well, he'll probably start after this game.
He has good reason.
And then, of course, the Cowboys got to play on Saturday, and then they have a week and a day before they play again.
Last time they played the Packers, it was Green Bay 23, the 49ers 20 in overtime.
Yeah, that was a heck of a game.
Yeah,
and Tim McDonald was saying yesterday, he said, when we watched that game again, he couldn't believe how poorly they played or how they were beaten. He said there's no way that that should happen again.
Again, Steve Young.
Look at this formation here, this stance here. This is an interesting thing. It looks like some old throwback formation you'd have for the guys in leather helmets.
That's fourth and hunker.
George Seifert 0-2 versus Mike Holmgren.
We used to work with him, of course.
Yeah, Mike Holmgren was the offensive coordinator here with the 49ers. But I tell you, if Steve Young is healthy, and this is a quarterback league in the NFL, this team can go all the way. I mean, they always have to be reckoned with because they have a pretty good defense, and if they have a healthy Steve Young, they can beat anyone in this league.
And they've gotten a couple of other guys. There's Ricky Waters hugging Ray Rhodes.
Well, it was a homecoming for both of them.
Yeah.
You know, and they both thought they had a pretty good chance to beat the 49ers.
Here's Rippon firing deep. Pass caught. Inbounds, yes, it was a catch by Calvin Williams.
But that's a tough thing about these playoffs. You know, all the teams that start that are in the playoffs, there's only going to be one team that's going to win its last game, and that's the team that wins the Super Bowl. Everyone else that gets in the playoff, other than the Super Bowl winner, is going to lose the last game they play. And this is the one that you have to live with the whole off season. And this is what the Eagles are going through right now.
Well, 2 years in a row they made it to the playoffs. Last year they just destroyed Detroit in the first round. Rippon hanging on, taken down by Brian Young.
You know, it's fitting that Brian Young gets a sack now because he's played like heck this whole game. I mean, he was the guy that was rushing Ty Detmer early in the game. He was the guy that was stopping those runs. He's played a heck of a game. He and Ken Norton Jr.
How about a whole year?
Oh, a whole life.
A Hail Mary knocked away in the end zone. McDonald went down. Rippon is still down now. Struggles up. The NASDAQ stock market post-game report coming up. Divisional playoff review with J.B. Terry, Howie, and Ronnie.
You know what's so important in this thing is home field advantage. I think having a quarterback, weather, and maybe the most important thing is having your best players healthy. There's Gary Plummer. I don't know that he'll ever be healthy. He was showing the bursts on his left knee, the bursts on his right knee, the bursts on his elbow. He has big old like grapefruit sticking out on all his joints.
The leap again, and this one is intercepted by Tim McDonald. And what a year he's had. When you're giving out accolades, Tim McDonald has been outstanding. And number 8, you can't say enough about him.
How about that guy? He has been amazing. I mean, you talk about a gutsy guy and a gutsy performance. That was Steve Young today. Whew.
And no matter how many times you say it, you don't think you said it enough. George Seifert doesn't get enough credit for the job he's done.
No, and there's always talk that he's going to be replaced, and I always say he's going to be replaced. Who are you going to replace him with? Where's someone that's a better coach than George Seifert?
They don't enter my mind immediately. Final score here in San Francisco then is the 49ers 14, Philadelphia nothing. Coming up, JB, Terry, Howie, and Ronnie will be along from the Fox Television Center with the NASDAQ stock market postgame report right after these messages.